Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd, and we've got a bunch of photos, and of course we were looking at one of my favorite books, Bringing Nature Home by Doug Tallamy. All right, there is a monarch inside its chrysalis, and that was one day before we shot this, I believe, or before we were recording it on the 24th of October 2011. Those are flower flies. They're flies that act like bees, and they pollinate flowers, and they nectar from those flowers as they are there, of course. And there's a different flower fly. And if you look at the book I just held up for you, Doug Tallamy's book, you'll find there are many, many species of flower flies. He doesn't have all of them pictured, but if you go online, you can see quite a few of them. And they, even those with that brown, black and yellow bit on the back, some of them have black on the back of the neck, some of them have some more yellow up there. So they're just amazing. And they're all over these tiny asters. And that's another American spout butterfly. Snout butterfly, I should say. Now there's one of the tiny white tan with black butterflies, and there was also a different smaller one in some of these pictures. That's a question mark. I showed you one of those last week, but today made a couple of pictures that I wanted to share and got a pretty good close-up from the side. You can kind of imagine how if you stand it up just right, you can make out a sort of question mark shape in the back of its wings as they go down. And there's one of the tiny flower flies in another spot. And probably anywhere you can find some of these tiny asters during the middle of the day, on these nice days, you'll see them. And there, of course, is that flower fly. You can see stripes on the back of his neck, where some of the others, it was dark. There's one that's dark. And it's a totally different species, but they are in Serpidia, or whatever. Anyway, the thing that has the hoverflies and flower flies, and that act like bees. And that's, okay, now we've got a gray hair streak up close on the tiny asters, and that is it could be a honeybee. I got it from that angle, and I like the picture, but I can't possibly identify it myself. Okay, you saw the chrysalis of a butterfly. There it is today. This morning, it came out of the chrysalis. Notice the wings are still wadded up. I wasn't fast enough to make photos. Once it started opening that chrysalis up, split it out, it got itself out of there pretty fast. Now, it hangs on to the chrysalis a long time. I've got it outdoors now. It was upstairs in the house in that first picture, and it's continuing to try to sort of shake its wings and let them dry out. And that process really took a couple hours before that thing tried to fly. And I was lucky to get to see this much, how the wings are all folded in there. Now, see, that's after it was released at World Peace Wetland Prairie, and it flew a little ways and got on that tall wildflower plant and just rested for a while and dried out some more in the sun. That's swamp milkweed seed, and that's a pod that it's opened. You see, split open. You can see the seed, but they're not coming out quite yet. So that's what the caterpillars of monarch butterflies have to eat. Milkweed, Asclepias plants. That's Asclepias incarnata. Until next time, this is Aubrey Shepherd asking you to do your part to help keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green, and protect your pollinators. Good book to give you a head start on why to do that and how. Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd on the 27th of October, 2011, and we're going to look at some photos of things still in bloom and insects still buzzing around in the final week of October 2011. That's a painted lady or American lady. I can't remember which one. It's maybe Vanessa Cardui or the other one. But anyway, that butterfly is on tiny asters, as is this flower fly, one of the many, many species of flies that act very much like bees. There you can see that painted lady, maybe the same one, over on the left of the screen, and a buckeye butterfly at right, just showing you the mass of tiny asters and how important they are in late October and even into November some years for the pollinators. Okay, that's a buckeye butterfly for peace. And he just decided to sit down on there and let me get a picture. And I made several shots. That's about as good as it got. Anyhow, that's a dark, maybe pipevine swallowtail. And it's on Verbicina virginica. And that's another late blooming flower. A year ago, I made a picture of that same type of frostweed with the white bloom still at the top and the frost forming around the stem, and that's really hard to do. That was a skipper butterfly, and now we've got something I can't tell you for sure which species this is, but it's a beautiful little guy and got it from a couple of angles, also on tiny asters. So you can see that's a pretty small creature on a very small flower. So neither one of them is bigger than your thumbnail probably. And that is a small aster, just trying to show it from the top there, and it's a pretty nice one. It hasn't lost many of its petals yet, like so many of them this time of year. That's one of the, is that bitterweed? Anyway, can't remember. Two very similar flowers on Pinnacle Prairie there, and they have similar flowers but different foliage. That's a tiny late blooming orchid, native wild orchid species. Spiranthes is the category, and there are lots of different ones, so I'm never quite sure which one I'm showing you. And these are plentiful on many prairie areas in northwest Arkansas, and some species grow in the woods. And this one likes it out there in the tall grass prairie. And there are probably, I don't know, 50 around where I was taking these pictures of those. And of course, I'm down right on the ground. These things are maybe 8-10 inches tall, and very much smaller than those flowers are like smaller than your little finger nail or something. They're pretty small. That's why I don't have great big blown up pictures of them. Some of these are cropped, you can tell, to try to get some of the detail. But see how they spiranthes, the spiranthes spiral around their stem. And you see some of the other native plants in the background. You see some tiny seeds of some native wild grass, and a lot of species of wild grass on World Peace Wetland Prairie and Pinnacle Prairie and many, many other places in northwest Arkansas. There you can get a proportion on that, seeing, my thumbnail there and that flower. And these are not things you find readily, because when the grass is really tall, they're hard to spot. You have to get down and look for them. But that area had been mowed over earlier in the summer, so these got to bloom again in the fall. And I have pictures of some that are similar in the spring. I'm not sure if they're the same species, but they grow in the same area. Till next time, this is Aubrey Shepherd asking you to do your part to help keep the native plants healthy. And if you do that, you'll keep our pollinators healthy and keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green. See ya.